intimate conversations with wedding professionals as they share their stories, insights, and tips from inside the wedding industry. We'll chat about how to be authentic and that it's okay not to be perfect or run your business like someone else's Instagram. Let's dive into the privilege it is to serve our clients and discover the talented creatives that make up our community. When we share what we know and who we are, we better serve our couples as a wedding day team, as well as each other. Simply put, be Fabo. Now here's your host, Bobby Brinkman.
Hey listeners, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today on the Be Fabo podcast. Super excited that we have two ladies that literally are the heart and soul and the powerhouses behind two companies here on St. Simon's Island. They're in the wedding business. They run the back end, and you guys get to talk to them a lot at Island Sound, and then the local wedding community that we have here, the Golden Owls Wedding Association. So we're going to talk to these two ladies a little bit about what it's like to work on a very fast-paced industry, very busy industry. Their companies they represent are across state lines, and they're always juggling couples everywhere. So I'm going to let these ladies introduce themselves to you so you listeners can get to know their voices. And full disclosure, girls, we do have 4 people have sent in some questions, so I did not share, Laban, anybody, the questions with the girls, but we have some couples that have a couple questions for you guys regarding entertainment, so that'll come up. So ladies, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
Thank you so much, Bobby, for having us. My name is Rachel, and I'm the office manager at Island Sound. I'm in a couple companies there as well. And then we have...
I'm Elena Edwards, and I am an office assistant there, and I help with other companies as well with GWA too.
So how long have you guys been with the companies retrospectively? Did you guys both come on together, or was one there before?
So recently, I just celebrated my 5-year work anniversary with the company. So that's been actually fun and a lot of milestones, and it's interesting to look back and just see how far we've come.
And I've been with the company for 2 years, since 2017. Before that, I was there a year with the other company, Fuse.
And so how did you guys find this employment? Like, did they come out and look for you? Or are you guys in the wedding industry somewhere else before, or in hospitality? How did you guys land the positions that you have?
So life has a funny way of turning out, because it's kind of like wedding industry kind of chose me. I came from actually a nursing background, and the life just turned out kind of funny, and I started working, and then I ended up here about 5 years later.
Wow, that's a trend, but it's taking care of people. See, you take care of customers in the wedding industry, you take care of people that were sick or, needing attention. So it does go hand in hand.
Mm-hmm. And I just love the fact too, with the purpose of life, I just feel like, you find your gift and you share your gift, regardless of what that is.
That's very true. Now, Elena, tell us a few people so they know that you do work with your husband also in the office. What does he do there?
He's also an assistant. He's more like the technical side, since he has a background in like audio video tech. He did work at Jekyll Island Convention Center before he worked here. So he's got that full background there. He's more tech side, and then I'm more like emails, phone calls, bookings, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so that and he's always a pleasure to see in the office, and he can always help you if you need anything. So between the two of them, when you want to book a DJ or this DJ company, you're in good hands. So I want you guys to tell us a little bit about what exactly is Island Sound, an entertainment company, and a little bit about all the services that you guys do, because it's really more on the entertainment side.
You want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
So Island Sound, we specialize in DJ company, in DJ services. And our DJs are all personally trained by the owner, Justin, who started the company 10 years ago. And so none of our DJs are like outsourced or contracted. They're all personally trained, and they're actual employees with us. And then we also offer other services like photo booth, videography, wedding planning, and those services are outsourced, but we handle all the back end planning, arranging everything, making sure everything's confirmed, and that way it's just one less thing for the couples to have to do. You just have everything with one company. It's really convenient.
And are you guys finding that when a couple calls you, and preface that by saying, how are couples finding you? How are they finding their way to Island Sound?
So there's a lot of ways that they find us. Obviously, the Knot, Wedding Wire, those platforms. Social media is a huge thing. Also local venues, associations, vendors, and we're also finding a lot of former clients and brides will refer us.
Yeah. Exactly. Best word of mouth is somebody that you already took care of. And if you take care of your current customers, you don't have to worry about building some new customers, because you know what they say, take care of those that you came to the dance with and you'll be great. Exactly. So when couples are calling you, are you guys finding that they're saying, tell me everything about your services, or I just want to DJ, and they never knew they might have needed something else?
I think they mainly come to us for DJ, like when they do a Google search or what have you and find DJ, and then they go on our site and realize that we offer a lot more. So I think their main concern is obviously getting the DJ, but then they're like, oh, but I could have a string quartet as well for the ceremony. And we're like, okay, we can do that too. And the same with like videography, photo booth. It's usually more like an add-on. But here and there, we do find couples that reach out to us just for photo booth or just for videography, just because our name's bigger and we advertise a lot and we're on social media promoting it, whereas like the smaller companies that we subcontract to can't really get their name out like we have.
Well, that's perfect. And that brings us to the first question from Stephanie. She's from South Carolina, and her question was regarding DJ services. Is there a rule on how involved the DJ should be during the ceremony or the reception? And I asked her, explain that, and she says, is there a rule about DJs like taking over the microphone and totally running the dance floor and having the attention on them? Is there a way to speak to DJs, or is there a company that we could suggest that does not have, over the top MC service DJers that go rogue?
Now, with our company, we love to just tailor everything to the bride and groom and what they're looking for. They will step in and be a planner, but also we want things to go as smooth as possible and keep things from being awkward. And also, we're not going to have the DJ step in and it's not about them, it's about the couple's day. And so we really do try to tailor it to the best of what they're looking for.
Right. And just to add to that, they wouldn't single out any sort of guest and make them feel embarrassed, say you need to get out here and dance or something like that. We like to remind couples that we are wedding DJs. We're not club DJs or rave DJs or bar DJs. We specialize in weddings, so we're not going to be any sort of like cheesy and that kind of thing where when you say the word DJ, that's what comes to mind is someone yelling at you to keep dancing. We're definitely not like that. It's very background, smooth transitions, only announcements when they're needed, like introduction of the couple. If they have a cake cutting, please direct your attention to the cake, that kind of thing.
And I can attest, folks and listeners, that is exactly how Island Sound runs. Not only that, but all their DJs show up, dress appropriately, look like they're going to a wedding. And in our southern hemisphere, which these guys work in the southern coastal Georgia area a lot, and Florida, they will even keep on their long sleeve shirts and ties until probably the photographer like myself says, oh my God, you look like you're dying. Take off the jacket and the tie. So I can attest that these guys do run a very professional, when they come, they do show up. So that brings me to my question of, tell us the process when a couple comes. Let's just talk on the DJ side of it now. So when a client comes into you, however they get to you, what's the next process so that you can find out some of these needs, or like, do not play that song? Tell us the process for how you can get a couple to go ahead and book you so they know you're the right fit for them.
So when a couple reaches out, we just need a few details to just go ahead and get them on our books. We need a date, times, if possible, even tentative times are great. If not, just a roundabout guess of like how many hours you would need. We see 5 hours is pretty standard, like a 4-hour reception, including cocktail, and then 1 hour for the ceremony. And if you don't have us for the ceremony, then we would see 4 hours there. And then also the venue, city and state, since we are in a couple different states, we'll see a lot of times they'll just give us a city with no state, and we're like, well, we got to know that as well, because there's a lot of common names out there. So really just those things. we need times, we need venue, and what did I just say? I just lost my train of thought.
No, that's good. No, and that's good, because I just got an inquiry today that the person says you're available and they don't bother giving us the date. So, this is like our 8th episode already, and I'm going to remind all the couples listening, you have to include a date when you speak to your vendors, and a lot of us do service multi-states. Please tell us the name. You may not know the venue, but give us the date and give us the state and city if you know it. So after they do that, are you guys sending out a form or direct them to the website so they can start giving it, so you guys can start getting an idea about what DJ might work for them or what kind of party they're wanting to have? And do you guys tailor fit the DJ to fit that mood?
So typically what we try to do is we try to sign DJs at least 30 days prior. Now we do have a lot of clients that, hear about a DJ and they're like, we really would like to have them, which is great. And that goes back to, the most important thing is securing your date. I would just say, as long as you get on our calendar, we're good to go. About 98% of the time we can meet that request. But typically what we try to do is we try to match the DJ best to what they're looking for, and we send them a wedding form that's very, very detailed. We tell them, it's going to take you a while, maybe have a glass of wine, sit down, with your partner and go ahead and fill this out, because it's pretty much everything that we need to know what you're looking for. So we go ahead and try to do that. We try to do at least 30 days prior. And then if they want to have a phone call, with the DJ, walk through things, then we can do that and set that up for them.
Gotcha. That brings us to Holly's question. Holly is asking, how do we tell the DJ that we do not want any guest, no matter what, to request a song? How does the Island Sound Company deal with those kind of requests?
So we first would like that to be added into the wedding form. There is a spot on there. There's a spot for pretty much everything. Would like to hears, would not like to hears, requests, and that everything. Your venue information, your vendors. We will reach out to your vendors just to make sure everyone's on the same page. So we do, step in a little bit because we want to work with the planners and the vendors to the best of our ability.
Yeah, so as far as taking guest requests, if they say, I don't want Uncle so-and-so or anybody coming up to the DJ booth and requesting, just make that little note. We have a notes and comment section at the very end. If we missed anything else, we want to know that if a guest comes up to the DJ night up, he can just say, we've heard from the bride or the groom or whoever, and they just aren't taking requests, or they'll say it in a very nice way, or a lot of times they'll say, I'll see if I can mix that in tonight. But they'll be respectful to your guest, but above all, like, the client comes first and their wishes comes first, so we're definitely going to honor those. And especially songs that are on the do not playlist, we're not going to play them. Like, that's a big no-no.
Well, no, and I agree. I have seen the awkwardness of when that happens. And so that also goes into the fact that, Island Sound does not hand the microphone over to Uncle Bill when he just walks up. I can attest to the fact that microphone does not leave, especially if it's Justin's. It's a really cool microphone. So it does not leave the DJ's hands. So it doesn't go into any guest that wants to ramble, on. So the next question that I have for you ladies is, let's talk, we're going to take off the DJ side now. The other services that you offer, tell us a little bit about those. And are you seeing trends moving one way or the other way? And are the trends you're seeing in like lighting and gobos, what's your thoughts on how those trends could be improved, or please don't ever do that again?
So one thing I definitely would suggest for bride and grooms, if anything, which most of our packages include everything that you need. Number one, I would suggest, like, if you have to add anything on lighting. Lighting just makes things more pleasant, keeps things from being awkward as well. But then on another note for trends, I've noticed that photo booth has become very popular in the past couple years.
Yeah. And videography's really, really, they book up 2 years in advance even. Like, we're seeing, sorry, your 2020 bride, we already don't have availability that day for videography. So I would definitely say videography, photo booth, if that's something in the back of your mind that you're just even curious about, go ahead and ask if we're available.
And definitely lighting.
Yeah, it'll book up quick.
And I want to add in that videography, yes, is finally getting its fair due in weddings. For a couple years ago, it faded out really bad and nobody wanted to invest in it. And I think this generation, because they've only grown up with looking at things on their phone. So I think they know that the moving video on a phone is something that they want to add. Now, I will say this. Can you elaborate on your photo booth? Because your photo booth is not like where you walk in and sit down and 4 little pictures come out. So elaborate a little bit on the difference in your photo booth versus some others that are out there.
So we have 2 different options. We have open air and enclosed. The open air is this like podium type thing. And it's touch screen, and you can actually just fit as many people as you want there. It has got a nice big screen, and they can just walk through it. Whereas the enclosed is kind of the traditional one you think of with like the pipe and drape, where it only fits a few people in there and they are sitting down, but they can stand as well. So we have those. We've definitely seen a rise in the open air.
Yes.
Because like it's more pleasing, and you're not feeling like you're not part of the wedding when you go into a photo booth. You're still a part. You can go in, you can go out, you can take photos throughout the night. And our photo booths have an attendant on site to help your guests. They have questions. They can do as many prints as they want. We offer other things like scrapbook add-ons so that your guest gets one to take home with them, but then you also make sure that you have a copy of the pictures as well, and they can write you a sweet note.
And I think that's important to hear, listeners, that a DJ company is actually saying they approve of a photo booth, because so many DJ companies, bands, etc. It's something that does take out. And I think you ladies have been to enough weddings. You know that sometimes this booth has to be maybe in a room 3 feet away, 6 feet away, that all of a sudden, when it comes time for your DJs to shine and get the party going, half the people are out at a photo booth. But that's the open air boost that I love, and I found that makes things go much so faster, and then people get back to the party really quick. So, listeners, for sure, check out with these ladies with the photo booth. So, all right, we're going to move a little bit now into telling us all the areas that you guys service, and is the process the same? Do we still get to talk to one of you two if I want to book something for Ohio?
Yes. So over the past couple of years, we have expanded on the Southeast coast and a little bit more. So we first started in the state of Florida. Now we're in South Carolina, North Carolina. We are in Ohio. And now we have been also touching a little bit in Tennessee, Alabama, Indianapolis. So we are, growing. When a bride and groom reaches out, we do answer their questions, and it all comes to our corporate office on St. Simon's Island. So you will speak with one of us or one of our office members.
And if I have a certain request, again, kind of goes back to maybe they were at a wedding here in St. Simon's and, one of the DJs was exceptional. Is that something that can happen, that DJ can go to Tennessee or Alabama? Are you guys training guys and ladies specifically for the states that you're servicing?
So sometimes we can make it happen if it's within 3 hours. So if you wanted, let's say you went to your friend's wedding here, but then you're getting married in North Carolina, we could probably make that happen. That's pretty doable. Now, if you're actually destination, you're coming from Ohio, it might be a little bit more tricky to get a Georgia DJ. But I will say that all of our DJs are amazing. Before I worked here, I was an Island Sound bride. And I had such a great experience that I actually hired Island Sound after working here for my sister's wedding. So I can say 2 for 2 great experiences, personally, that I've had. So, and those were 2 different guys, and I can really say all of our guys are great. We just had our summit, 2 weekends ago? And they all came, even though Ohio guys drove down for the weekend. We just had a great meeting together, and we only get to see each other once a year usually, but it's just great to always reconnect because they all have such great personality. They're also kind and professional.
They're just also down to earth, and the priority for them is to just have a wonderful time, and it's all about that couple. Yeah. And they're the people too that you would want to, hang out with, and you would want to have a beer with them. And so, they're not cheesy, and we don't go by any DJ names. We just go, Ben or Patrick or Gary, and that's who they are as a person, and they're just themselves. Except for, come on, DJ Hero Morgan. He has his own hashtag. Come on.
Hey, hi, Bobby. Yeah.
He was always, I will always call him that every single time. So yes, and I can tell you that they are a good group of guys. I do want to ask though, and I'm sure you ladies too, women, Are we not seeing women apply to be DJs? Nobody's coming through. I know you guys do a massive, hey, we're looking for help all the time. And they do have to, listeners, they do have to go through a big training. And I do know that they do train these guys and they come out with one of the seasoned guys. So why is it you think women are not DJing? What do you think, just your own, because you're women, what's your personal opinion on why we're not seeing some ladies just kick it up?
Well, I see a woman apply here and there, and I do am in charge of like the hiring process. We don't see a lot apply here and there. You do, but I think really it goes back to the word DJ. When you think of that, there's always like this stereotype that comes to mind, and usually that isn't like a woman that comes to mind in your head. Like sometimes you may have seen a woman DJ once or twice, but majority of the time it is guys. So maybe it's not peeing in girls' heads to say, hey, I do want to apply to do that. Now, if you have a great personality and you look professional and all that, like I will follow up with you. I've had a few that I've actually followed up with. But again, it's really hard to find such good like talent, people that are like, we're great at vetting them. And so like I creep on them, social media, Google, like, we do background check, like they are not getting past me. If they've got any dirt on them, if they're missing a tooth, like they got to look sharp. They got to be sharp in their mind. They got to be able to write a professional email to me, because you're going to be helping someone on the most important day of their lives. And first impressions are all you get, really. I mean, a lot of times you don't meet your DJ in person. So if some guy with missing tooth and his hair isn't combed shows up to your day, I mean,
you'll say, hey, were you playing hockey last night? Because obviously hockey players need not to be DJs. And there you go.
Yeah, and you don't want to be disappointed in who you get. And obviously looks do play a factor, because this is someone like you have to say to your grandma, hey, this is my DJ. You know what I mean? So it's got to be someone that has that appeal, that's good looking, that can be in front of a crowd and not upset grandma with something crazy going on, you know?
And we're not against female DJs. It just hasn't worked for our company that way. And I think, too, we've actually had a lot of clients when they're on the phone with us. I mean, personally, they're just like, you're not a DJ, are you? Like, they feel more comfortable with having a male DJ. And I think it just goes with the whole disc jockey vibe.
And I think a lot of it, too, is I think you guys can attest. How many times are you seeing that it really, the groom is really the one that's in charge of DJing, or at least plays a vital role?
They're always like, yeah, this is the one job, the one thing I have to cross off the list. They're like, this is what my fiance told me to do.
Exactly. No, and I mean, I'm not implying at all that you guys aren't. I know you guys are cool enough that if a kick butt woman came through here that could rock it, I mean, she would, put the boys to shame, so I know that. And it's across the nation. I travel as well. And I've only ever worked with one. It's the same one. And I've worked with her several times over the year, and she's really good at what she does. And, but again, it's a hard, it's a hard area to get into. I mean, I got asked this question recently at a workshop from a Q&A section, something that, somebody asked me, 30 years ago, I've been in this business now 37, that I couldn't, why would I not make it? And it was because I wasn't a male photographer, because back when I started, that's all there were. There were no female photographers, and now look at it. Now you can barely find a male photographer,
Right.
So it all shifts. So that, is that one of the things that set you guys apart from other companies is it, do you think it's because of the quality of guys that you have there, how your company runs, how your owner wants to run it? And all that's just a package that you guys present along with always being just in the know and keeping current?
I think it's that, but I also think it's because we're a team of DJs. We have so many people reach out to us at the last minute. So we have some brides that reach out to us 3 years and book with us. And sometimes it's the week of or the month of. And it's because they hired a DJ that was a one-man show, and an emergency happened. And, emergencies do happen. And I think, too, we just are a team of DJs, and we're there, and we have standby DJs available, and we will always make it to an event despite an emergency.
Yeah, and to add on to that, we've never missed a wedding in 10 years that we've been in business, and that's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't think a lot of DJ companies can say that. And just to add on to everything else Rachel was saying, I think our company just gives people peace of mind, because you have a team of DJs, but also if you pick up the phone and call us, we're going to answer every time. You send us an email, it's going to get answered within 5 minutes usually. We're going to be there. We have a full-time office staff. We even extended our office hours. Weekdays we're open until 10 o'clock at night, because we know a lot of times wedding planning gets put on the back burner and you can only fit it in at 7 after you feed your kids or something like that, or you go run errands. So we want you and your fiance to be able to sit down and talk to us and make this decision, because it is important. It's the only time you'll be able to do it. And we haven't seen any repeat brides yet. So
right.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing is just peace of mind, that we're such a big team, and we've been in business so long that, like, that
you're in good
regardless
hands.
You're in good hands. Yeah.
Well, that's hence how a certain DJ got DJ Hero as a hashtag, you know. We have it at one of my own weddings. You know, it's pretty well known around here. I speak of it quite often when I'm even out public speaking and speaking for education with the Nod and other places. I was able to pick up the phone during the ceremony, mind out listeners, and you guys got me somebody, you know, and literally there's witnesses to attest to this. As they were leaving to walk down the aisle, you guys were on the phone telling me that one was on his way, and I'm snapping photos, answering your phone. I handed it off to another vendor and said, hey, they're sending somebody. And, you know, here comes Mr. Morgan. Hence he will always be known as DJ Hero Morgan. And, not to knock a smaller company, but it wouldn't be able to happen on a smaller company. Thank heaven we were locally here on the island, and I could do that quickly. But I also know that if I was in Savannah and had to have something and I could call you guys, I know the same thing would happen. So, you know, that's something to keep up. So Martin has a question. Martin looks like he is from Tennessee. He says, how is it best to deal with a live music? And so he rephrased it a little bit and says, can I have a DJ and a band at the same venue? Does Island Sound work with bands as well?
We do. We do outsource bands. It doesn't happen too often. I think bands and videography are similar in that if you have your heart set on someone specific, like you saw this band perform or you've seen this videographer's work, you're going to seek them out directly rather than have them as an add-on. But if someone wants to do a band DJ combo, typically we see the DJ would play music for the ceremony and the cocktail hour, and then the band would ramp things up really well for the reception.
And that's considered, the best of both worlds. And
right.
That's kind of like what we do with our packages. And that's always an option.
Now, we have seen requests too for band DJ combo where the band would play a few songs and then the band would take a break and then the DJ would play during the break. That's an option as well. Just a lot of times it doesn't fit in the budget because you are paying for a DJ for the whole reception and you're paying for a band for the whole reception.
Right. So we're going to talk about price. That's a perfect segue. With regard to price, and it's always iffy, and we don't need to share prices here or exact things, but for the value that you offer for DJ services and then all the add-ons, competitively in the world of DJs, you guys are pretty competitively priced. Is that something that you guys work hard to do, or do you feel, I know you're valued for what you charge, so that's not the question. The question is, when you determine your rates, is it determined on all the factors that you want to offer, or the fact that this is the time we have spent investing in this DJ, this is what it's going to cost to send him out so that you have a kickback party?
Well, it factors in, first of all, like the equipment rentals. You're getting speakers, mics, dance lighting, all of this included in the package. And all you're really paying for is the DJ's time there and everything else included. You're not paying extra for travel, setup, breakdown, anything like that. So that definitely factors in. As far as like how our prices are set, we do a lot of research on that to make sure we're not losing a lot of clients. We are at like the national average right now.
Right.
So we try and be affordable so that we can still you can have a great DJ for a great cost. You know what I mean? But I think it boils down to like, if you want to pay cheap, you're going to get a cheap DJ. And that's kind of how it is, because we do invest a lot of time in training these guys. They make great hourly pay. Because we want to invest in them as well and encourage them and make it worth their while as well. And then in turn, they'll invest right back into us. And
right. I was just going to say, they're
grow
going
the
to stay.
market.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And they're going to, that's how you guys have got such a great group, because they're not coming in just for a summer job and leaving. So that is huge, nod to the way that you guys take care of your employees, and the fact that you do have these, where you guys can go and have retreats and summits so that you all keep improving and everything. So that's a great nod to you guys. So tell our listeners a little bit about something that you would like them to do, be more proactive when they reach out to you. How can couples call Island Sound and you guys be able to fix things up right away and know that you're a good match right off the bat? What can clients do when they call you?
I really just to begin with, just kind of knowing what they're wanting and needing and just having those basic things. If not, we will work with them. But I think, and just knowing just a little bit of the details. That way we can take it from there and suggest things and go from there.
Yeah. And a lot of times couples don't hire a planner, which we do recommend to hire a planner. That's one of our biggest things that we recommend, whether you book it through us, through someone else. A planner is just an amazing asset to have, because you don't want your photographer to have to stop taking pictures to go line people up. And the same thing goes for your DJ. Like, a lot of times the DJ will step in and be the planner as well, just to keep the night on track.
We have seen, though, too, that we would like them to, submit their forms before really having a full conversation via phone with the DJ. And I always encourage them to do that, too, because that way the DJ can go through it, see what they're looking for, do a feel, and it's more of a productive conversation. Because we have noticed that before they know what they want or before they fill it out, the conversation doesn't go anywhere. We want to be as productive as possible, and everyone's time is valuable. Yeah.
Exactly. No, and again, that's the forthcoming of give us all the information that you have. So are you guys hearing, or in the course you guys are on the back end, so you may or may not know it. I want to talk a little bit about when we get to a wedding, all of a sudden they come up to the DJ and say, hey man, I want to add an hour. I want this party to go longer. And after everybody gets approved, how often does that happen to you guys? And do your DJs have the ability to say, yes, I can stay, or do they have to check in with you guys?
So we do have that option. So with our payments, we do suggest, to add on, but, if they want to, or if they're having a great time, they can do that. And that is up to the DJ, and they usually do want to continue. That's up to them. It is different a little bit on pricing. Up front, we do let them know, all of our pricing is the same until the day of, and then it's up to the DJ, and they usually will name their price. We also have a price for that as well. But all of them love to continue on, especially if they're having a great time.
Yeah, we just definitely want to respect, like, the photographer's time, the venue, local noise ordinance, that kind of thing. Obviously, it's sad to say it's time to go, because they want to keep partying, but we also don't want the cops to show up too. So we have to respect everybody. And that's that. I wanted to bring that up. You guys do not break the rules, no matter what state you're in. You guys hold true that, and you're not going to be the one that says, hey, we can stay if you know this, because you guys know the rules going into where you're going. You've already been told of those things. Right. And we do a lot of research on that end as well, especially when we go into new markets. We have run into issues in the past where a bridal groom will reach out and they'll say, well, I want a ceremony on the beach, but then we go and look and, well, you can't have any equipment, no cords, no amplified music on this part of the beach where you're holding your ceremony. And we just have to tell them, I'm sorry, like, we can't do it. We're not going to break the law, even though we'd like to help you out there. Like, you can move your ceremony or you can figure out other music options, but we're not going to do that. And we are aware of noise ordinances as well. So the DJ is not going to continue on if he's aware of that, and that's all in the paperwork and shared with us. But they do have the option, if that's all good and dandy, to keep on having the party play, and they're very flexible when it comes to that. Yeah. So that leads me into tips. What's you guys' policy for tips for your guys? Well, we see it sometimes when they book. A lot of times we have that option online where you can just go ahead and tip your DJ. But we see more often like cash day of, which the DJs preferred, and that way it doesn't go through like payroll and his tax and all that fun stuff. They would actually just have the nice cold hard cash night of. But we usually see around 10% is pretty standard of the total cost of the DJ is what they get tipped. But really it's up to the client. We see a wide range of tips being given. It's just based on how well you feel that the DJ did. That's true, and they are worth every penny for a tip, so I'll attest to that. Let's talk logistics.
what are some of the things that your DJs come back to you and say, oh my gosh, do not ever book us back in XYZ, or we need to charge more if I have to lug this speaker on a 95-degree beach day? What are some of the feedback that you get from the guys that actually go out and service the couples?
Well, the number one thing is just all communication. I think I just heard a recent story from a DJ that really the planner wasn't stepping up, and it falls on the DJ, and of course they're going to do that. But when they have a planner involved, they don't want to really step on their toes, but they will do what they need to do to make sure that that couple is getting what they need during the night. But I think too, that's just one of their biggest frustrations, because we really do try to go into that wedding prepared and knowing everything, so everything goes smoothly. But if we're not getting that communication from other vendors, it's just very, very difficult.
No, none of us can do our job if we don't communicate. And, as a photographer, one of our biggest pet peeves are, we've been at the ceremony all day, and sometimes you guys are there. This is DJ generic. They've been there a little bit, but we've been there usually, 3 or 4 hours before you all come in. And then all of a sudden we come back and say, oh my gosh, I need 5 minutes to go to the bathroom. And you're going to the bathroom, you hear the DJ going, all right, everybody, we're coming in the door. And you're like, really? I just told you. I just asked you to give me 5 seconds. So that does not happen with Island Sound, but it does happen. And it's, I stress to everybody that when they're making this investment in their wedding day, that people will invest with people that they trust, people will invest with people that they like. This is a big investment. Entertainment, DJ, MCs, these guys are more than one half of your day. So you have to invest in it wisely, because they are going to be there an hour or so setting up, and they're there the whole rest of the evening, and it's one half of the day. So if you don't have somebody, A, that's professional, B, that isn't drinking or something else on the job, and C, is on his phone constantly, not wanting to be there, you have to have somebody that's up there that will get the party going should a wedding planner not be around. And the catering people go, we don't know what to do. The DJ has to step up and be that person. And the people have got to invest. And I tell people, this is why they cost what they cost, aside from just all the equipment and gear, which as a photographer I can attest to. But you've got to have somebody there that's reliable and that is invested in your day. And the one thing about Island Sounds is, you guys have said it multiple times in this interview, it's what can we do for you? How can we serve you? You're not there to be a rock star. You're not there to be the hero, even though I make that more important sometimes for you guys. But you're there to serve the couple and to deal with all these things, and you're there to present a problem before it happens. And that's what you ladies do. I think you guys send out your DJs with all the information that they need to succeed and not to fail. And I know if I have a problem, I can call you right away. If I say, hey, we need to make a shift here and there, and there's something we need to talk about vendor to vendor, that you guys are open to talk about that. So the vendors that we have listing in Wedding Pros that have asked me about working with Island Sound, you always hear me say that you can reach out to these ladies with a question, vendor to vendor. I mean, this is a business for all of us. If we have one problem or one individual that could cause a problem, we need to talk together and get through that. So that's a good thing. The last question about DJs from a Susan, it looks like she is somewhere local in Georgia. Her question is, I have no idea what kind of music I want. First dance music, parent dance music, are these a must? And if I have to do them, will you help me?
We will absolutely help you. And that's where too, we will set up a phone call. I mean, us office staff will definitely help. We will also set up a call with the DJ. And that's why the form is really important as well. And we ask not to fully fill that out if you're unsure. But also, all of our DJs are very skilled in reading the crowd. So even if they put a little bit of what they would like to hear or what they're kind of going for, the DJs are trained for that. And they're trained to have the event run smoothly, keep things from being awkward, and really doing things. There's even like a checkbox like we trust Island Sound.
Exactly. And so that's the feedback that you guys got. Are you guys asking for feedback forms at the end of a wedding from everybody?
We request reviews somewhat, but we don't really have like a feedback form per se. We do follow up with the venues afterwards to see if they have any feedback for us. That's one of my husband Brandon's jobs every week, is to go through every event from the prior week. Call the venue, see, make sure everything went smoothly, see if we can come back, if there's anything we can do different next time to make it go even smoother. So we definitely get the feedback there. And then obviously from brides and grooms, they follow up with reviews.
And a testament of our DJs too, I've seen so many of our DJs reach out personally after the event and just be like, it was so great, to meet you. Is there anything else that I can do? And this is after the event, after their job is done. And so I really can say that they really develop personal relationships with the clients. And I think that's just so wonderful.
Yeah.
No, and I agree with social media. That helps because we all want to know who you are and we all want to tag each other, and you guys getting photos with the couples too. So that's a good point. I wanted to ask, are there places, and I don't know if you guys have run into this, but are there some places that, let's say Susie and Mary call you and that the DJ system would just not work there? Do you ever have to break somebody's heart and say, hey, we just can't work in that area, or the DJ, we can't climb up 95 stairs with our gear? And I'm not talking about any venue in Florida. I'm just saying, how do you guys handle the customer expectation that way? If it maybe has never happened to you, but if it does, what would you guys do?
I think our biggest issue we run into if we have to turn someone down, which doesn't happen often, is just power. I mean, it seems like a no-brainer, but you're like, I'm getting married in this beautiful field under a tent and the stars, and it's just going to be gorgeous. But then the DJ shows up and you can't plug in anywhere because you're in the middle of the field. So we definitely wouldn't book it without knowing that there's power. But that's definitely something to consider when you're planning, and you're like, even if it's your backyard or something, you need to make sure we have power. And Wi-Fi isn't an issue. A lot of times couples think that that's an issue. Again, if you're out in this obscure area that's gorgeous, you have power but no Wi-Fi, the DJ will download all of the music ahead of time, and he'll actually play them ahead of time to make sure they actually queue up without Wi-Fi connection.
And even if we haven't been to a venue before, all of our DJs are very willing to do a venue walkthrough and to speak with the venue. However, we don't really have to do that because our communication is so great, especially leading up to the event. But I know some venues are more comfortable with that, and some clients are more comfortable with that. And so that's always an option that we can schedule and make happen.
But we don't really see an issue as far as when you mentioned like a bunch of stairs. There are some venues where it's a little inconvenient because there's a lot of stairs. But the DJ system, it breaks down completely where it fits in the back of each DJ's car. So they can pick up one item, take it upstairs, one item, take it upstairs. As time consuming as that sounds, rather than loading up their back with everything, it's definitely possible and doable. I would definitely say if you're thinking about having like a multi-story event, like say your reception's on the rooftop and then you've got dinner on the second level and then the ceremony is out on the lawn or something like that, I would definitely say to let us know that ahead of time. That way we know where to put the main system. And that way the DJ isn't moving tons of equipment back and forth and there's any break in services.
We also suggest to the clients to not give another option for your guests to go somewhere else when there's dancing available. And we also ask that the DJ is close to the dance floor and also to the bar. And I think those things also make your event go way more smoothly, especially if you're wanting dancing.
Absolutely. Like how you were saying in separate places, we've seen several times, like in the fall, you'll have a fire pit and it's on one end of the lawn and then the DJ's on the other. People are going to be near the fire pit because it's cold. Obviously dancing warms you up a bit, but people are going to want to sit around the fire. So maybe when you do your floor plan or your planner works with you for the floor plan, make sure the DJ is over there by the fire pit, and the same goes with
also near the bar.
Near the bar.
Right, because see, girls, that's the truth, girls. It's not the dancing that warms you up. We all know it's not the dancing that warms you up. It's the vodka that wants you to dance. It's the bourbon that wants you to dance. That's what keeps you warm, Well, one last thing about DJs before we talk segue a little bit is I want everybody to kind of know that, you guys can play pretty much any song that anybody asks because you are up on all your licenses and you have all the rights to play the music that you could play and use, correct?
Right. So even if it's some obscure song, like a specific cover version just on YouTube, we'll make sure we can figure out a way to get it. If it's something like Uncle So-and-so recorded this when I was 5 years old and I have it on a CD, just figure out a way to download it, send it to us via email or Dropbox, whatever. We'll make sure that song's played. So really anything. We've done Russian wedding, Persian wedding, Indian wedding, Chinese wedding recently. So really any song you want, we will figure out a way to get it if we don't already own it. And that way it is played and your needs are met.
Gotcha. And like I said, that's one of the big things that, I try to remind everybody too. While I'm not going to knock Uncle Buck and his DJ stand, he doesn't have the right permits or the licenses to play the music that he's playing. And then in the end, causes problem for videographers, for all of us to have a sound to go with it. We all get in trouble. And so, again, when you hire professionals, you hire the people that have the licenses, the insurance, everything is wonderful. Let's segue over into the Golden Isles Wedding Association. Tell everybody what this is and how you guys became a part of it.
So I'm more on that side for GWA is what we kind of abbreviated it to for Golden Isles Wedding Association. So it's really just a team of vendors and venues that have gotten together to really make it like more of a one-stop shop when you're a destination bride or even local brides. I mean, most of the time it's people's first time getting married. So it's just a new thing you've never done before. So you don't even know where to start. So we're really that place to start. It's like, if I need a venue, I can go on there and see all the venues in the area. And then from there, photographer, and then from there, DJ. And that all these people on the site that are listed are trusted, they're reputable. They haven't had any like major issues or broken any laws, and they're actually going to show up for your wedding day if you book them. Like the GWA stamp and having them listed on our site means that they're going to be there for you. We're not going to just load you up with someone that's taken your cousin's pictures one time kind of thing.
And so when the couples come, they know that it's known and local and they're trusted, and we all know how to deal with the lovely coastal weather that we have here, which is another reason why I always suggest hire local, because we all know those things.
Definitely. And touching on that, with them being local, that is very important. I know a lot of times destination brides will say, well, I'm from Atlanta, so I want to have an Atlanta photographer, even though I'm getting married here. But a lot of times photographers don't know about the weather here, or a planner from Atlanta might plan to have a beach ceremony on Driftwood, but then the tide's up and you can't even have your ceremony there. So it's things like that where only a local would know, and that they've been there 100 times, so they know how it's going to turn out every single time.
No, but I agree 100%. Here's a question you may not know, but where do you guys, where do you guys see Island Sound going in 3 years? And where do you think you're going to be with Island Sound in 3 years?
For Island Sound, I just keep on seeing us growing. Right now, I mean, that's not one of our goals. We're going to stay in our local markets as of this year. But we're really investing in time in our DJs, in growing that way. We're also going to put someone in place that they're really going to be on the road, and we're going to invest more time in our DJs and then eventually keep on growing.
Yeah. And just touch on that, this year, we're not expanding into any new markets. We're really going to be investing in our local areas and getting more venues that trust us and that we can be there every weekend for them. And that's really important, just to foster those local relationships where the DJs are and we're still growing. But I would definitely say like 3 to 5 years. I mean, there's possibility for like national, like we could be all the way in California sometime. It's really just a matter of hiring the right guys. And the way that we got to be where we are now is we had these amazing guys trained up. They've been with us for years, and then they get a great job opportunity, or their spouse gets great job opportunity in Ohio, and they're like, well, I still want to DJ for you. And we say, okay, we can do that. Let's expand to Ohio. So then they open up that, and then they hire guys that they really trust, and we just go from there. So it's really a matter of trust and keep building on this foundation that we've already had, and not just kind of willy-nilly saying, oh, we're going to be in this place even though we don't trust someone there.
With the right people.
Yeah,
exactly. So you got to share with us, no names, no nothing, but give us a funny story that one of the DJs that come back and said, you would not believe what happened last night.
Oh gosh.
I know you could write a book, right? We could all write a book. I swear. We're missing our calling. We could do our own reality TV show.
We really could.
Honestly, there's been so many crazy stories, and every year I'm like, I think I've heard everything, but I haven't. But I think there's so many times where DJs come back and they're like, oh my gosh, I met this like famous person, or oh my gosh, I just did this wedding for this like known band, and they just think it's like the coolest thing. And I don't really want to name any names that way, but I think too, just their experiences and the relationships, and they really get to do some very high profile weddings as well.
Yeah.
And I know because I've been with a party with a couple of them, they have to come back and tell you, you wouldn't believe what happened last night. And it's a moving story where we have all cried because of something that was said, or because the dad got out of the wheelchair and walked down the aisle. I mean, we've all seen those moments. So we've
also heard some stories too where I think the DJs never really realized how big of a part they are for a wedding. I remember, I think it was in Florida, they had no power. All the power went out. But our DJ had a generator, and the whole wedding continued on just because our DJ had a generator. And that story has been known for years and years and years. And I think too that DJ was just so humbled, but was so grateful, and was like, wow, like I just made someone's day just because I had a generator, and just because I was prepared. He was just
doing the right thing because he didn't know any better. So I mean, that's just, and again, goes to the quality of guys that you have employed. They're not going to be like, hey, it's 9:00, I'm out of here, I'm not going to talk to anybody. You guys are actively engaged when they need to be, and they sit back and professionals when they're not going to be. And being in this industry for a long time, I can tell you that, I don't always have the best of DJs with me. I work really hard to not do that. But, when you have a DJ that's on the phone or constantly drinking and not 100% present, it makes for a very long evening for every vendor and every guest. So, we never want to hear of those stories. But, well, I can't thank you guys enough for joining us and answering, the listeners' questions. We've got, over 600 people now are following us. And so, I want to keep educating brides and couples as well as wedding pros on how to secure a wonderful wedding day team. And, it's always great to have you guys part of it. I'm glad to be part of the local circuit that gets to work with you guys here and abroad. I've worked with these guys actually in several states. So I'm very honored to be able to do that. But remind everybody where they can find everything about Island Sound and how to get a hold of you guys.
So we're on Facebook and Instagram. It's just at Island Sound DJs, plural. And then our website's islandsoundlive.com. And you can email us, call us anytime, DM me on Instagram. I will answer you. Any way that you can communicate with us, we will get back to you.
That is fabulous. And that is a wrap. Once again, thanks for joining us, ladies. Hope you guys all got some good information. Hope that you guys can help plan your next wedding using some wonderful Island Sound talent. So make sure you follow us along on bfabopodcast.com. Go over there and leave your comments and anything else that you need. Or if you have any more questions for these ladies, you guys already sent me some, DM me some more, and I will make sure we hand them over to you. And you're in good hands when you call these ladies. They represent a wonderful organization, but they are the heart and soul behind here. And they didn't say it enough, but they are one of the main reasons this company is so successful is because of what they do and how they treat everybody. So thanks again, ladies. Everybody have a fabulous week, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you so much, Bobby.
Thanks for joining us. We hope these conversations will take you into your wedding weekend with a little more confidence, proud of what you do, and how you serve your clients. Maybe you even picked up a business tip or two. Till next time, be Fabo.